Hello everyone, my name is Emily Ramirez, and today I will be going over my educational leader interview. For this interview, I had the pleasure of interviewing Mr. Brandon Flores Diaz. He is a business support assistant at Banner Health. Mr. Flores works at Banner Health in their Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion department. He currently holds the title of a business support assistant, and in his position, he plays the role of a leader, educator, facilitator, and trainer to help others learn information on different diversity, equity, and inclusion topics. He is responsible for leading a variety of different resource groups in Banner, such as Banners Unido, a Hispanic Latino group, DIVE, Diverse Individuals Valuing Everyone, an LGBTQIA+ and Allies group, and Women at Banner, a women's group. Mr. Flores is responsible for facilitating 3 essential trainings for employees: Intro to DEI, Eliminating Biases, and Making the Workplace Safer for the LGBTQIA+ community. When talking about leadership styles, Mr. Flores describes his leadership as relaxed. Mr. Flores is incredibly proud of his team, and he has built the relationship of trust and unity with them. He can maintain a relaxed approach when leading because he can ensure that he has a clear, thought-out plan or agenda that allows his team to follow along. He can also make sure to clearly communicate expectations, but is always open and flexible if changes need to be made. I have made the connection that he exemplifies a combination of delegative and transactional leadership. Through delegative leadership, Mr. Flores can be seen as hands-off because he's not micromanaging and knows confidently that his team can get the job done and works with everybody's strength to accomplish their goals. He also exhibits transactional leadership through his clear emphasis on structure and following set routines and procedures in an efficient manner. Data helps lead Banner. During my interview with Mr. Flores, it became clear that Banner has a goal of fostering a culture of data informed, meaning that not all data will come from studies or tests. Some data will come from assessment and people's experiences. For any event that is hosted within DEI, data is essential to better understand the topic that DEI is talking about. For example, Mr. Flores explained how he led a virtual event on the importance of pronouns. He had to use different data, not just numerical data, but data that reflected the emotional impact of pronouns from those that it impacted, to show that pronouns have a positive impact within the workplace and society. When I followed up and inquired on how he obtained his data, he mentioned that a lot of the information was gathered from resources they have, such as data collected through other teams, other departments, and individuals within Banner Health. Mr. Flores has also been able to develop learning experiences for others through his own experience, motivation, and passions for healthcare. Mr. Flores is Guatemalan and Salvadorian, a first-generation college graduate. He is able to relate and share his experiences as a minority and help build learning experiences for others. Mr. Flores states that his motivation stems from being Hispanic. I believe it is my duty not only to discuss and try to fix the health disparities the Hispanic community faces, but also any underrepresented community. I want to be the person who has a seat at the table and is able to share my thoughts when C-suite meetings are happening. As mentioned in the article, this kind of passion dramatically increases a team's potential by becoming more resilient and powerful in its can-do attitude. Mr. Flores also utilizes transparent communication to better understand his team and other employees on what they would like to learn more about and to identify issues that have not yet been discussed. Mr. Flores evaluates learners to determine mastery level through different methods. The majority of trainings and events that Mr. Flores hosts are currently virtual due to the pandemic. In order to keep people engaged during the virtual trainings, webinars, or events, he makes sure to ask questions and start open dialogues with participants to be aware of where they are and their understanding of the educational content. He also utilizes the chat to get interactive responses and to post polls where people can agree or disagree on things. Another assessment that is a lot more fun and lighthearted are Kahoots, which Mr. Flores utilizes to quiz participants to see what they have learned and what they've gotten out of the learning experience. Optimism is a very important component in the work that Mr. Flores does. Optimism allows us to move beyond our present circumstances and respond to possibilities within our control. Mr. Flores acknowledges that at present time, there are a lot of negatives that surround their work in the healthcare field, such as the COVID-19 pandemic, healthcare worker shortages, and many health disparities that they are still facing. However, Mr. Flores knows the importance of shedding light on information and topics that people are sometimes not comfortable talking about, while focusing on actions that everyone can take as a whole and individually to create positive changes. It is also important for him to remind employees that there is always help available and making sure that those resources are accessible to everyone. The majority of the work that Mr. Flores does is advocating for others. Advocating for others can be hard, but the biggest thing for Mr. Flores that he points out is to be an ally and be willing to learn from others. Mr. Flores makes an exceptional leader and advocate because he has the ability to listen, comprehend, and feel each team member's wants, anxieties, and expectations. Without it, there can be no mutual trust, and building a successful team is impossible. He mentions having learned so much from the LGBTQIA+ community, from doing his own research, but more importantly, speaking to those that identify with the community and other employees who are also passionate about different disparities. Overall, this experience with the interview has been incredibly fascinating, insightful, and impactful for me. I was simply just blown away by all of the knowledge that Mr. Flores was able to shed light on in terms of DEI, what they do at Banner, and the many different topics that they discuss. I think I have grown a bigger appreciation for their work, as well as gaining more awareness on how I can also be an advocate to help change and minimize any health disparities. And as someone who sees themselves in a leadership role similar to Mr. Flores's, I think it's really exciting to see how a role like this can play out in the healthcare field. Overall, I'm incredibly happy and fortunate to have been given the opportunity to speak with Mr. Flores, and I thank him tremendously. And here are my references. Thank you so much, everyone. I look forward to hearing your presentations.